Death tourism, travel with a purpose. Planning to travel. Your motivation is likely going to fall into one of these boxes. 1. Visits to friends and family. 2. Vacation. 3. Business. What is missing from the list? People who travel to commit suicide. What is it? Death tourism, a specific type of medical tourism, is a system whereby non-terminally ill individuals travel to another locale and enlist the services of death clinics to help them end their lives. Subsets of death tourism: INCLUDE, suicide, and assisted suicide and euthanasia. With basic suicide, the patient ultimately takes his or her own life. Stirbtourismus is a German term that means journey of a person from the country where euthanasia and/or assistance in suicide is prohibited to the locale in which one or both of the procedures are, under certain conditions, permitted by law, which allows administration of these medical treatments to the person. The American Medical Association defines physician-assisted suicide (PA) as a physician facilitating a patient's death by providing the necessary means and/or information to enable the patient to perform the life-ending act. While a patient receives assistance from a physician either in the form of medication, instruction, or advice, the key component is that the patient cannot do it alone. Euthanasia, from the Greek meaning good, and thanatos meaning death, involves the physician acting to cause the patient's death. This is frequently accomplished by administering a lethal injection or removing the patient from some form of life support. The defining characteristic of euthanasia is that it is the physician, not the patient, who carries out the ultimate life-ending action. Passive euthanasia is allowed in most countries as the practice is generally associated with a patient's right to refuse medical treatment rather than a request that the physician kills him or her. The underlying premise of this argument is the belief that the right to choose how to live one's life necessarily encompasses the right to choose how to end it. However, it is illegal in most of the United States. While some people decide to commit suicide at home, many others are selecting other nearby or foreign destinations to end their lives, enabling a few states and countries to become a breeding ground for death tourists. Market segment. Suicide is the 10th leading cause of death in the U.S. for all ages, CDC. It may be difficult to accept the fact that globally 800,001 people commit suicide each year, approximately one person every 40 seconds, twice the number of people who die from homicide. Older adults make up 12% of the U.S. population but account for 18% of all suicide deaths. Of the more than 47,000 suicides that took place in the U.S. in 2017, those 65 and older accounted for more than 8,500 of THEM, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Due to the stigma associated with suicide and the reality that it is illegal in some states and countries, the numbers could be an underestimate as suicides are frequently classified as unintentional injuries. 1 in 4 seniors who attempt to kill themselves will die, compared to 1 in 200 youths. Men who are 65 and older face the highest risk of suicide, while adults 85 and older, regardless of gender, are the second most likely age group to die from suicide. Not counted are silent suicides such as deaths from overdoses, self-starvation, dehydration, and accidents. States for suicide. Suicide-assisted suicide euthanasia. Death is legal in OCALIFORNIA 2016, OCOLORADO 2016, OHAWAII 2018-2019, OMAINE 2020, ONEWJERSEY 2019, ONEWMEXICO 2021, OOOREGON 1994, OTEXAS 1999, OBERMONT 2013, only permitted for terminal illness. OWASHINGTON 2009, O Washington, D.C. 2016-2017. In Montana, a district court judge declared, December 2008, that the state's constitution recognizes the right of terminally ill patients to die with dignity by obtaining a prescription for lethal medication from their physicians. The decision was challenged, and the court held that a physician's aid in a patient's death does not violate the state's public policy exception. Montana legally recognizes PA, although the right has not been codified by statute. In the U.S., there are no federal laws directly permitting or prohibiting PA or euthanasia. The right to legislate end-of-life procedures lies within the purview of the individual states. Time to fly, time to die. In 2017, 1.4% of global deaths were from suicide, and in some countries, this share is as high as 5%. In 2017, the highest rate of suicide, 5%, occurred in South Korea, 3.9% in Qatar, and 3.6% in Sri Lanka. The countries with the lowest suicide rates are GRECE, 0.4%, and INDONESIA, 0.5%. Switzerland has been a popular destination for suicides since 1942. Germans represent 44% of foreign nationals paying others to get help them commit suicide. In addition, a large number of UK suicide seekers, 21%, register at a Zurich BASED suicide clinic earning a THE death tourism tag. To live with dignity, to die with dignity is the slogan of the famous Swiss organization, DIGNITAS, started in 1988, whose goal is to help patients commit suicide. However, it is an offense to assist a suicide if it is done with selfish motives. The promotion for the organization highlights the fact that help can be obtained by any person who suffers from an incurable illness or permanent disability and wants to voluntarily end their life. The main reasons for deciding to die were neurological DISASES, 47%, CANCER, 37%, and rheumatic and cardiovascular DISASES, Institute of Legal Medicine, University of Zurich. The organization had participated in 3,248 cases of assisted suicides by the end of 2020, Floxtrans.com. The cost of an assisted death in Zurich, Switzerland, runs between US $9,040 $21,000 and includes air, accommodations, food, and organizational fees. In the Netherlands, euthanasia and assisted suicide are legal if the patient is enduring unbearable suffering and there is no prospect of improvement. Anyone from the age of 12 can request this, but parental consent is required if a child is under 16. In addition, the doctors must consult with at least one other independent doctor on whether the patient meets the necessary criteria. In Belgium, prospective candidates for suicide must meet with a doctor several times over a period of months to ensure that the application is voluntary, well considered, and without outside pressure. The applicant must also be experiencing unbearable and unrelieved physical or psychological suffering. It is estimated that the cost is $3,500. The Guardian. There were 2,357 cases of euthanasia in 2018, which equates to about 6 per day. Belgium, Luxembourg, Canada, and Colombia allow euthanasia and assisted suicide. However, there are differences. Only terminal patients can request assistance in Colombia, and in Belgium there are no age restrictions for children with a terminal illness. In Spain, 2019, Parliament legalized euthanasia and physician-assisted suicide. Since 2019, the Australian state of Victoria permits assisted suicide for terminally ill adult patients with fewer than 6 months to live, or 1 year in the case of motor neuron disease and multiple sclerosis. Residency requirements and medical assessments from multiple doctors are mandatory, and patients are barred from traveling from overseas or other states to access the euthanasia laws in Victoria. International suicide landmarks. In San Diego, California, the Coronado Bridge, 200 feet, is a popular suicide spot. From 1970 to 2000, over 200 people jumped to their deaths from this structure. Oh, the Humber Bridge, UK, near East Yorkshire and North Lincolnshire, registers an average of 7 suicide jumps per year. Between 1981, when the bridge opened, and 2007, approximately 200 people fatally hurled themselves into the waters below. The 98-foot drop makes death almost certain. Oh, the Sunshine Skyway BRIDGE, opened in 1987 in Tampa Bay, Florida, has chronicled 207 suicides through 2009, where jumpers fall into the Tampa Bay. The bridge has averaged 9 suicides a year from 1999 to 2009. Oh, the West